Hi there, I'm Holly McDonald with the Costa Mesa Pod, where we discuss all things concerning the lifestyle, businesses, and activities that make Costa Mesa such a great place to live. Today I'm joined with local legend, John Rispoli of Newport Rib Company, a staple here in town. John, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so tell everybody a little bit about Newport Rib Company. Like, how did you guys get started here? How are you so rooted in the community?
Well, Newport Rib Company, we started, I grew up here. I went to Sonora, Adams, T-Winkle, Estancia. That's all the schools that we went to. So we've always been in the restaurant business since my dad moved out here from Illinois way back in the early 60s. So we had some restaurants down by the beach. We had called a Surfer Hamburger Stand on the corner of 22nd and Oceanfront. I think right now it's Handles. Then we had Patio Cafe down on 19th Street in Balboa Boulevard. We had that for a while. And then one of my dad's friends, who he had started in business selling Johnson's wax in Watts in the early 60s, Rich Penjoyan Produce, said, hey, in 1984, I own this building over on 20th Street in Newport Boulevard, and it was a meat market. It's called Kramer Meat and Fish Market. And he said, listen, the guy's not doing that great. I own the property. Why don't we what do you think about opening up a restaurant? We'll try it for a few years and see if we get along and see if it works. And so that was the beginning of Newport Rib Company, which ironically, it's on Newport Boulevard. That's why we called it Newport Rib Company. But we've actually always been in Costa Mesa.
Okay, and so because you were on Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa, that's where it came from, but now you're not there anymore.
Correct. So we moved 27 years ago, because my twins are 27. So we moved 27 years ago to this location. This was a Sizzler, for those of you that have been around for a long time. So it was out of commission for a couple of years. It was kind of run down, and we were growing. Things were good. We do a lot of catering, and our banquet room was getting used a lot. So we basically bought the property, and so we landed, we remodeled it, and now we've been here 27 years.
That's so funny that it used to be a Sizzler.
Yeah, and it's fun. The old school people, like the salad bar used to go right down the middle of it, and so we used to cater. Like the Sizzler used to be like the Newport Harbor, Estancia, Costa Mesa football teams. They used to all come here for their pregame meals. So yeah, it's got a little relevance for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, and so when you were at your former location, was the setup the same? Obviously it was smaller, but was it always like a home style bar area type of setting, like sports bar almost?
Funny, it just we just kind of grew one step at a time. We had probably sat maybe 70 people in the front room, just beer and wine. And then as we kind of started seeing things kind of blossom a little bit, we applied for a 47 liquor license, put a little tiny bar in the corner. And my dad used to run it, not very well, but he used to run it. And then we were able to expand to a banquet room. So we built a banquet room, and we made that a little bit bigger. So everything kind of just grew as we grew, until we basically kind of outgrew that location, and this location became available, and it was just kind of a smart business move to move here.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how you touched upon the high school students, and I know that ever since I've been in Costa Mesa, I've heard about how wonderful you are to contribute back to the local schools and the community and everything. So obviously that's, you've grown up here, your family's been here for a while, but that's been part of what people know you for.
Yeah, my parents, back when we started, and rest in peace, my mom just passed away recently, and dad passed away about a year ago. They always just basically said, be good to your community. Like, that's just super easy to do, and it's we took it to heart. And so we try to support all the local schools, we support the local clubs, and then they're the ones that support us. So it's just a pretty simple logic, and it's worked out really good for us. And you got to have good food, and you got to have good service, and pour good drinks. We do all those things, but I think that's a little something maybe that we do that maybe not everybody does.
Well, yeah, to stand the test of time and be here for over 40 years, the restaurant industry is hard. I've got friends in it, I've heard the stories, and I'm sure you've seen the, turntable, turnstile of restaurants that go in and out of business and whatnot, but you guys have really kind of captured the heart of locals here.
Yeah, I hope that it works both ways. People that come in here, they get to know us. Most of our staff has been around a really long time, which we're pretty happy. It's blessed to have people that like working for us. They work hard, they do a good job, they care about, not only, what people eat and what they have, but they care about their families. We do a lot of, family business, generations and generations now that we've been around for so long. So yeah, it's not an easy business, but it's certainly enjoyable when you see people's faces come in here for all the right reasons. So when we opened this, our cousin is a chef from Chicago. He came out here to help us open the patio cafe. And once we ran that for a little while, we sold it, which is kind of what my dad's moniker had been for a little bit, is run some things, build it up, and sell it. And then this place, my cousin Ram, they went to a bunch of different barbecue restaurants, and they tried to figure out what was best at each one of them. Like the onion brick was one thing they got from one place. The ribs, how they do it, the barbecue sauce, how they do it, the chicken, how they do it, prime rib. So we tried to take, and this was, when I was in college, they went to probably 15 to 20 different places and figured out what's the best to take from each one of them. And my cousin Ron was smart. He could figure out how to do things. And so he gathered all those things, and there was about 15 things that we put on the menu. That was back in the day when we opened in '84, when we had about 15 items on the menu, but I think now we have probably over 90 items on the menu, just as you kind of grow and, vegetarian, just all different taste buds needs to be played. So I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, but that's how we started. And then when I joined, I ended up coaching, went to college, got a job for Gallo Wine Company for 3 or 4 years in the restaurant business, and then I was hired as a soccer coach at Estancia. So I said, I'll come here and let's see if it works. I'll coach soccer, and then I didn't really know if that was going to be, for a year or 2 years, and it's lasted now 39 years that I've been helping to run this place, and I took a lot of pressure off my dad when I joined here and helped run it, and so that's where we land now. Now my sister's here. She's been with us about 15 years, and so she does a really nice job of helping us for things that I'm not very good at, which is a lot of things.
That's good. Well, it's good to have the balance. So let me ask you this. So your family is from Illinois.
Yep.
How did you end up in Costa Mesa, of all places?
Yeah. It was cold out there. They both went to University of Illinois. My mom was a teacher. My dad's parents moved out here because his sister had some health issues that needed to move out west. And so when they landed here, my parents got married and it was very cold. They realized maybe coming out here isn't a bad idea, and once they landed here, this is a good spot to be in, and Costa Mesa was their landing spot.
Yeah, I was just telling my friend yesterday, who's also from the Midwest. I'm from New Jersey a long time ago, and when I moved to California for the first time, it was January, and so leaving the Northeast and coming here in January is like paradise. It doesn't get much better. You're leaving the snow and the cold.
Right, the Rose Bowl every day. Every year, the Rose Bowl basically brings everybody out here because it's such a beautiful spot out here.
So nice. And honestly, the weather was like just magical. It was like, oh my gosh, no more snow, no more ice, no more rain, no more sleet, all of the things. And it really just made it so beautiful to be here. So, and I know Chicago's no joke. That Illinois winter is no joke.
And we still have family there. We go back there all the time. We have cousins and all that stuff that we go back there for. Yeah, it's a beautiful place for about 5 or 6 months out of the year, but this place is pretty darn nice, most of the whole year.
Yeah. How was UCLA as a college experience?
Oh, it was so fun. I joined a fraternity there, and they're still some of my best friends. I had a great time. We won 3 Rose Bowls and a Fiesta Bowl when I was there. I have lifelong friends from there that are still, some of my closest friends.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Costa Mesa, because what I love to do with this podcast is not only find out about you, but also find out about the community so that we can share it with people who may not really, know much about Costa Mesa or what it has to offer. So obviously we've got great restaurants. We know exactly where to go for ribs. But what else is there that you would say kind of describes Costa Mesa to somebody that may not be familiar with it?
Gosh, Costa Mesa does so many things really well. The diversity, I think, is one of the things that I appreciate the most about Costa Mesa. And I've seen it change over the years, for sure. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and I've spent 59 years of my life in Costa Mesa. So you definitely see some changes. Some of the high schools, when I went to high school, in the 80s, it was a little different makeup than it is now. And neither better nor worse, it's just different. I think we've turned into a caring city. I think we have needed to do that, I think, over the years. And I think, the political landscape has, helped to do that. But at the same time, it's, I've watched some of the past political, pundits go at each other, and it's unfortunate. When I was growing up, kind of in my 20s and 30s and even 40s, we knew all the mayors, all the city council. Everyone got along. Everybody, kind of had the same vision for Costa Mesa. And I'm not really sure what happened, but it just seemed like it just turned a little bit of there's a little difference of opinions that I think have affected things a little bit more. That is unfortunate. But I think this city does a good job of taking care of a lot of people. And I love being a part of it. It's a great city to call home. It's funny, like when I don't live in the city anymore, but people ask me all the time, where are you from? And I'm super proud and super honored to say I'm from Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
It's a pride thing, and I think most people that are from here, that live here, I think they enjoy that pride.
Yeah, I see what Costa Mesa has to offer currently is you've got your little communities. There's so many different communities here. You've got your neighborhoods that are more suburban and tight-knit. You also get more of a city feel, if you will, when you go over, South Coast metro area, that's like a whole different city. And it has more of what you might expect in like a New York City, almost, if you will, with the arts and theater and all of that. And then you go, to West Side and you get the tri-levels, and it's a different vibe altogether. There's just a lot of different things going on here.
Yeah, and I think, every city probably, morphs into its own self, right? And Costa Mesa is no different, but yeah, you definitely get, it's definitely different than it was 50 years ago. And I love the kind of the young family feel that I think you get now, kind of the cool hip people, as well as, the families and the older people. Like this city's got so much diversity in it, that it's special in that way. I think that's pretty cool.
I also want to ask you, because obviously you have a sports background and everything, and you've done a lot to help the sports community here. What can you share about sports in Costa Mesa?
Oh, wow. I will say it was interesting, because I'm played, or went to school back in the 80s, and it was, the CDMs and the Newport Harbors, the Mater Days, the El Toros. We were all very similar sports-minded. Football, basketball, baseball. We competed in everything. We were very similar, and I think as time has, as time marches on, you see that, I think different schools, different cities maybe get themselves pigeonholed into being better at different sports, and so nowadays it's difficult for Estancia, Costa Mesa to compete with the modern days of the world anymore, and some of that has to do with recruiting. But even the CDMs, the water polo, like back in the day when we played, those guys were, we battle it out with those guys, and now obviously we have probably different levels of competition in some of the different sports, and I guess that's just part of life, I guess.
Yeah, sports culture is pretty big here.
The things that we're getting really better at, and I claim my sister is really good at, is blossoming like our catering business. We do a lot of catering. It's a big part of our business, and now we're doing weddings and kind of high-end events that I would never do personally, but my sister gets it, knows it, and so we're doing 2 or 3 weddings a year now, or a month now, if nothing else. And then our food travels well, so it's been nice. It's been fortunate that just kind of worked out our way, but it's nice to be able to be like taken over by a family. We'll do the rehearsal dinner. They'll have a kid. We'll do their baptism. We'll do their kids' graduations, rehearsal dinners, weddings, and now we're starting to do celebrations of life. It's just, we've been around so long that it's nice to be adopted by families, and it makes things a little special in the restaurant business that we're able to be around that long and still be able to be a part of a family's upbringing and their heritage around here.
I mean, you're basically like the extra rib in their rib cage for life. You go with them through the whole cycle.
And you're dealing with the same people. I'm usually answering the phone. My sister's answering the phone. Jason, my manager's been here for 27, 28 years. Our bartenders have all usually been here between 8 and 12 years. So it's a good, comfortable spot that we like the people that come here, and I think the people that come here like us, and that's what we like to promote.
I think what I'm hearing is that it comes down to consistency, being part of the community and like family, and good service and good food.
Yeah.
Simple formula.
It's a simple formula, but the restaurant business is, right now the restaurant business is it's a tough deal lately, and I hear it from all the different restaurants in the world, is things have gone up, and not just by a little, but electricity, water, gas, insurance. It's not like they go up like this. It's like they're going up like this. So, everyone's got to do what they got to do to stay consistent and stay involved, and try to be profitable.
You guys, you own this building, right?
We do.
Well, that helps a lot too, right? I'm sure in this industry.
No one, some restaurants, they're a subject of their own success, right? They do well, and then the landlord says, "Hey, you're doing so well, you can pay more rent," and that's then the restaurateur's kind of stuck in a with the problem that he made himself by being successful. We fortunately don't have that problem.
Yeah. Oh, that's a crummy way to think about it, but it makes sense.
It's business. I mean, it's business, and hey, we're in it, and we're doing the best we can to try to be good at it.
Yeah, I did want to ask you one last question about just Costa Mesa landscape in general as far as restaurants. It seems like there are so many choices around town. It seems like there's always a new restaurant opening its doors. We have a great diversity as well. I don't know of any other rib companies, but there's a lot of options to choose from. Do you think that reflects at all on what makes the city like a fun, vibrant place in any sort of way? I mean, do you think that that's a draw?
Oh, sure. There's all different price points. There's all different, kinds of food, types of food, ways to eat food, takeout, inside, black tie, casual, fun, breweries. It's got a lot of everything. And that's another reason that Costa Mesa is so great. Like there's restaurants of all different likes that people can choose from, and that we're just one of them. So I eat in Costa Mesa all the time. It's a great city to hang out, and we do a lot of trade out with a lot of restaurants. That's a big part of our. I send my guys, I give them contest stuff, and they go out to other restaurants, and they'll come back and talk about it. And it's kind of a nice. We have a nice family of restaurants that we do business with, and they do business with us.
That's so cool. I love to see like that. Well, that just speaks to the essence of what I believe people think of when they think of you and your family and this restaurant. Is just like a spirit of community and collaboration. And I know that on like community forums like Costa Mesa Buzz and all the other ones that are out there, I almost always see people like shouting your praises and suggesting you for whether it's like where to go to eat or where to, you know, get the catering done. Your place comes up all the time. So yeah.
That's nice to hear, and you know, every day we try to make sure that we do our best to continue to get those recommendations.
Great. Okay, well, let's just say exactly where you're located, and in case you don't know.
Yeah, we're 2196 Harbor Boulevard in Costa Mesa. We're between Wilson and Victoria. I guess you used to say we're right next to Kmart, which is no longer there. And
the new Trader
At Home
Joe's
is no longer there. Now we say we're by the new Trader Joe's, and I don't know if you know the secrets, but I think I know a couple of places that are coming in next to us, coming up here in another 6 months to a year.
I don't know those secrets, but I will find out from you and then share it later.
Yeah, I don't want to give away anything now. But yeah, it's exciting times on Harbor Boulevard. There's a lot of opportunity on Harbor Boulevard. A lot of transition, and we're kind of excited for it. I hope it's good for everybody.
I think it's going to be great. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, thanks for tuning in, and make sure to come on out and get some ribs and support your local rib company.